Hello everyone and welcome to a special episode of Red Raptor Writes. Today we're doing a Q&A. I did one for my 1000 subscribers special and that was like 2 years ago already, which is really weird. And now we're at like 27.6 thousand. So my channel's almost 30 times bigger, which means there are a lot of people who probably didn't see that one, who don't really know as much about me as those of you who were the OGs who've been here forever. And on my channel, I usually just very straightforward, talking about the documentaries, the movies that I'm discussing, not really having that much time to communicate directly with the fans, with my subs, and get to learn about myself, my thoughts on things. I do ramble a lot when I'm playing video games like JWE2 or Prehistoric Kingdom, but I just want to have opportunities to connect with everyone at home. So I have a list of questions that you guys asked, and I compiled them onto a doc sheet, and I'll be going through them and answering them one at a time. Not everyone's question is getting answered. There were enough now that I have to leave out. This is going to take too long. And some of the questions were very similar to one another, so I just took one of them and not the others, if that makes any sense. So guys, let's dig this up. Starting with our first question from Fives the Penguin. So, Fives asks, when and why did you decide to start YouTube? And were you still doing student teaching at that time? Also, what subject do you teach? That's a great question. So I decided to start YouTube in 2017, right after I graduated high school that summer. I started as Tim Rex.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
And that was my channel name. I had this T-Rex mascot. It was just a person in a suit, but like with the face cut out. I just drew like a T-Rex in the suit and used that to communicate my ideas. I felt like I grew past that, and maybe I felt a little limited by that. Let's see. So that's 2017, and it wasn't until 2018-ish. I think I did that for a year. And in 2018, maybe early 2019, I started Red Raptor Writes. The same channel, I just changed the name, changed the logo, changed the format a little, and that's what I'm still doing today. Okay, and why did I decide to start? Because it would be fun. Because I thought it'd be a fun job to have, a good way to make some income. And I have a passion for this stuff. I started originally to do film and game reviews. That's most of what I was watching at the time, and I wanted to do it myself. I'm very highly opinionated when it comes to these things, so I can get a little aggressive with it. And I figured if I just put my thoughts in video form, I would have some relief. Like, okay, at least I put that out into the world, right? But then I saw that, hey, people like the Dinosaurs stuff a lot. This is what people want to watch with my Jurassic Fight Club video. And now we're in Red Raptor Writes territory with my Jurassic Fight Club video. There are some Jurassic World Evolution videos that were outdated. I didn't have all the facts right, so I tried to improve on that. But that's what people wanted to watch.
Yeah, you're coming with me.
And was I doing student teaching at the time? The answer to that is no. Again, this was in between high school and college, so student teaching, at least in New York State, in the United States, you do that in your last semester, getting your bachelor's degree in education. So that would have been like 2021. Yeah, I was doing that in the fall of 2021. And then I graduated that December. And lastly, from Fives, what subject do I teach? I'm certified to teach any type of history. Previously, I've taught all histories at once, or at least all histories we do in New York at once. So I've done World History 1 and 2. World History 1 is like ancient world up to the Renaissance. World History 2 is from the Renaissance to the present. Then in 11th grade you do US history, which is probably my favorite one to do. And then 12th grade it's government and economics. And then I also taught psychology. So, great questions all around. Next ones. Actually, there are 3 next ones from Calvin the Carnotaurus. Great name. Love Carnotaurus. I have 3 questions to match your 3 announcements. So, I gave the Q&A in 3 announcements. Number 1, any YouTube channels you'd recommend when it comes to dinosaurs and paleontology? Also question, I've been thinking about making like a video about great paleontology channels, but a few that are on my mind, a few that are still uploading today. There have been great ones over the years. Raptor Chatter is very good. Paleoanalysis, awesome. Does a great job going in detail with different time periods. Benji Thomas, also excellent. Also, Edge makes a lot of great, very in-depth, very long videos about certain subject that I'm very interested in. Like, he recently did one about Lambeosaurines in Hell Creek and why they're absent, if they're absent. And it's something that keeps me up at night. I literally stay awake at night wondering, where are all those Hell Creek Lambeosaurines? That would be like Parasaurolophus, Corythosaurus. You don't see them in Hell Creek, so very interesting subjects. So those are the ones I would definitely recommend. Next one, 2 tips for people wanting to make their own content on dinosaurs and paleontology. Okay, tips, just make sure you do your research, because you don't want to start spreading misinformation and repeating bad ideas. Bill Maher has a term. He has a term called zombie lies, or at least I heard it from him, that it's bad ideas that are just wrong, but they keep being repeated over and over, and you want to avoid doing that. Just make sure you do your research. What are people saying about this subject? What are new papers coming out on this subject? And sometimes I might miss a paper that came out or something, but just so it happens to everyone, it can happen to you too. But just overall, do your best and don't fall for the same tropes and traps of the past that are outdated, that are bad, that science has moved on from. And then on the flip side, we have channels to stay away from when learning about dinosaurs and paleontology. I can't think of that many. The first one that comes to mind is probably Goji Center, who does like videos about dinosaurs fighting and who would win the fight, and it's just silly nonsense most of the time, and a lot of times he gets some facts wrong. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can think about. There's someone called Harris Sang, I think that's how you pronounce it, who he goes through different YouTube videos about dinosaurs fighting, whatever, stuff like that. Stuff like Goji Center. And then he'll make reaction commentary videos on why this stuff is crazy and wrong. I hope I never end up on that channel. If you end up getting criticized by this guy's channel, you know you did something very, very wrong. There's no Red Raptor Rides video yet, so we're pretty good so far. Small YouTube channel still, but deserves a lot of views. Deserves more views than he's getting. And actually a 4th one, do you think the Dryosaurus in JWE2 looks cute? Yeah, I think the Dryosaurus looks cute. And now, moving on. From Gojira Guy, 3929. As a history enjoyer, I would want to ask you, who is your favorite world leader, and what is your favorite empire? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Favorite world leader? Like, if we're talking about today, I don't have any today. Everyone on the world stage today is either competent or pure evil, so let's not. But in the past, favorite world leader would have to be Theodore Roosevelt. This guy is my favorite president. Well, first of all, he's just an awesome dude. Apart from the presidency, awesome dude. Like, really, like a really tough guy. Wrestling, boxing, outdoor adventures, had his own collection, started his own museum of animals when he was a kid. He actually started off as a very sickly child in life. He's like, I don't want my sickness to define me, to bring me down, so I'm just gonna work so hard to overcome this and become tough, become stronger, become better. And that's what he does, right? So it's a very great story, a personal story, but then also in a history context, like of what he actually accomplished in office as president. After The Jungle comes out from Upton Sinclair talking about food and how, well, it's supposed to be about bad situation for immigrants, but people cared more about the food they were eating than the poor immigrants and the poor people in the cities. So people were disgusted by the conditions in like meat packing, so then they passed the Food and Drug Act, create the FDA, start regulating what you can have in your food and how much rat poop you can put in people's food. Roosevelt was also a square deal kind of guy. Like, there's a lot of struggle between unions and business owners at the time, as people were being mistreated by business owners. So he forced the owners of coal mines to come and sit down. Like, he forced them to come speak with and negotiate with the coal workers so that they can get a square deal where they're both happy and, you know, coal workers aren't just dying in the mines.
Yes, the negotiator.
So there's a lot of stuff like that. Panama Canal, broke up Standard Oil, guy's epic. Ooh, also, Sun Yat-sen is a very, very underrated leader in world history. So we're talking like late 1800s, early 1900s. He starts off as a student in Qing Dynasty China. This is while the Qing Dynasty is collapsing and everything is falling apart in China with rebellions and opioid addictions and spheres of influence by foreign powers. So they're basically being divided up by the world empires at the time. And he starts off petitioning the government like, hey, we need to make changes, we need to modernize and get tougher like Japan. The Qing Dynasty eventually kicks him out of the country for trying to overthrow the government, and he spends the rest of his life trying to overthrow the Qing Dynasty until, while he's away, you know, banished, he'll be out fundraising in the United States for movements in China. And while he's away, the 1911 revolution just suddenly springs up and the Qing Dynasty just ends. So he comes back, but he never really gets to lead the new Republic of China in peace. There's a period of warring states. Yuan Shikai, this general with a big head, big ego, takes over, tries to make himself emperor. Sun Yat-sen eventually dies, but he took a lot of inspiration from the West, from the United States, in trying to create a Republic of China. And favorite empire? Empires tend to be brutal and ruthless, kind of. So I can't really say that I have a favorite empire. I know a lot of people are like Roman Empire fans. I don't think I have a favorite empire, man. I'm sorry. Next up, this comes from CC Productions. What's your opinion on a darker, more dramatic Jurassic Park series? Prequel series showing how John Hammond got the technology to create dinosaurs and how he built the park. I saw something like this on Best and Such channel, him talking about concept art or like art for a series and ideas on John Hammond coming to prominence and starting to clone animals and becoming wealthy and famous and all that. And honestly, you know, I know that people will eat this up. People are fans of franchises and series, but it sounds really unnecessary. I don't want to see it. Hollywood keeps doing this, where they give us prequels and sequels that, you know, they don't turn out that great. So I'm down for just leaving Jurassic Park alone. It was a great masterpiece in 1993. I liked The Lost World a lot, but I think we could leave it alone at this point. Sorry if that's a bummer. And now from Vajda Vivi, or V. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So, your question. I'm sure a lot of research goes into your videos about paleo documentaries, but may I ask just how much? And are there any topics with which you are so confident you do research mostly to reaffirm your position on the matter? Okay, tackling the first half of that, a lot of research goes in. Usually I start off with watching videos about a subject from trusted sources like channels I've mentioned before, and then I'll go and Wikipedia, and don't just take the information straight out of Wikipedia. This is what they should teach you in school. Wikipedia has its sources. You can look at the sources they use on Wikipedia and then take those. So it's often good access to papers that you may have missed, may have not known about. They will be mentioned, they will be cited. And really, there's a lot of keeping up you have to do. Like, I like watching 7 Days of Science. And every week they cover new scientific discoveries, often stuff in paleontology. So you have to stay informed on what's going on, so that, you know, when you tackle a subject, you know that, okay, hey, this happened recently, and that might be worth mentioning. Okay, and are there any topics which you're so confident you do research mostly to reaffirm your position?
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
That would more happen if, like, you know that there was something new that just dropped. Maybe there's something I skimmed, I saw an announcement about something, and okay, now it's like, okay, I know this is a thing. Let me do my research to reaffirm my, this, to make sure that this is correct. Sometimes I would do this and see that, you know, my previous thoughts are wrong, so you have to double check yourself. Don't take anything, don't take any information for granted, really. Just check yourself before you check yourself, really. Even if it's something simple, just make sure that, okay, if you're someone who wants to start a paleontological channel, just check, make sure. After a while, after a lot of videos I've made on paleontology, it's like, okay, I've seen this before, I can just pull the sources I used in the previous video and use that here, pull that information here, so then the research becomes less intense, because I already did this research, so it makes it easier the longer you go along. Like, okay, how many times do I have to research about the Tyrannosaurus lip debate, really?
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
So, thank you for that. Great question. Now from Cormil0693, what are your top 3 favorite dino docs? Not just the accuracy, the entertainment value as well. This is a good one. I do like March of the Dinosaurs a lot. Despite the anthropomorphisms, I appreciate Dinosaur Revolution. I really like the Allosaurus episode. Sorry. It's a little over-characterized. They're made to seem more human than they were, but I still enjoy it a lot, and it sticks pretty close to the science aside from that. And third favorite... I really liked the Ballad of Big Al. That stuck with me. I really enjoyed watching that, and I love how they had they had the story, they had the movie, and then they have another part to it where it's, hey, let's explain everything, why we came to the conclusions and did what we did in this movie. I really appreciated that. I hope more documentaries, more movies do that. We get some of it with Prehistoric Planet, but I would like to see more. Maybe it's not enough. So, next, from Jurassic Reptile. Are there any fossils you wish paleontologists would find? Like, say, for example, a rare animal we know little about, or a new type of dinosaur that's venomous, or better shows their evolution? Definitely more Spinosaurus. More Spinosaurus is always good. I'd love to learn more about it. See, I think that Spinosaurus is probably like the most fascinating, was the most majestic animal that ever existed, probably. Just this giant, beautifully adorned creature that's wading in waters, fishing. It must have been a sight to see, and I would love to learn more about Spinosaurus. And settle some debates, like with Sigilmosasaurus and Australasia, whether they were Spinosaurus aegypticus, and there's so much confusion in these African ecosystems, because some people would lump like all these Spinosaurs we found at like 95 million years ago in Africa and even South America. Yes, they're all Spinosaurus, maybe even all Spinosaurus aegypticus, you know, whatever. And then there are others who are saying that Spinosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, no, these are different creatures, or like slightly different species. We just don't know, living in these different areas. Like, like the Kem group in Morocco, in West Africa, and then Egypt in East Africa, and whether they're the same or different. So I would love to learn more about that.
You and I are not so different.
And also just more juveniles of everything. Just to see how animals grew up, what they looked like as kids. I think that could teach us a lot about their ontogeny. Like, what did a juvenile Ceratosaurus look like? Did it have smaller crests on the head? Did it have crests at all? Did these crests developed as they grew? Stuff like that. And of course, more juvenile Tyrannosaurus specimens. We just got that dueling dinosaurs specimen that went to a museum in North Carolina, and that's supposedly gonna settle the whole Nano-Tyrannus debate, but they say that about every young T-Rex nano individual, and then a lot of them end up in private collections, which sucks because then you don't get to research it. It's just whatever. I'll get to that as a paleo myth. Like the ultimate paleo myth, Nano-Tyrannus, is it a juvenile T-Rex? But I'd love to see more on that. Yeah. So, awesome question. I liked answering that one. Next up, from Dr. Kalkil. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. As someone who teaches history, which is your favorite Bronze Age civilization? And this is gonna sound like a cop-out like the last one with favorite empires, but I don't really have a favorite Bronze Age civilization. I mean, you have like Egypt, you have the Hittites in Turkey, the early to mid Assyrians, Minoan, Mycenaean Greece. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. I kind of know about it as a system, like they're all trading with one another and going to war with one another over land and resources. But a favorite, I don't really know. Maybe like Mycenaean Greece, if I just had to throw one out there.
They stole it from me, Carmine! They took it! That was today! Today!
Right, they're starting to have that Greek pantheon, starting to speak in the ancient Greek tongue. They're trading with everyone. They're very warlike. They may have conquered Minoan civilization and then started trading with everyone in the Eastern Mediterranean. So maybe Mycenaean Greece, but I really don't have a favorite. Now we get to one from Dinosaur Studios 467. If you had a chance of doing your own documentary, what would it look like? This is something I've thought about for a long time, and I've thought about doing. I've mentioned doing my own documentary before, and now that I'm finished with my BioShock movie, that's all done. I released a trailer for it, a teaser trailer, and then another second trailer. But now that that's done, I can start seriously considering this and writing this, and I would probably do it in like a Walking Wood style where we focus on one individual dinosaur or prehistoric animal and then learn about its environment, about its neighbors, about itself through the lens of this creature, and then tell a story with that. Not an anthropomorphized story, okay? We don't need another dinosaur revolution fiasco, but yeah, that's what I would do. And I've been throwing around the idea of maybe using Deinonychus to learn about like the antlers or cloverleaf formation. And then we can see like Acrocanthosaurus, Oropelta, Tenontosaurus, and all that good stuff. Considering it, and I also want to do a Morrison one, but I'll see. That would take a lot of work. I'll have to model everything in Dreams and then animate the creatures. If you don't know about Dreams, that's a PS4, PS5 game. That's basically an engine that you can animate and make games with and movies. It takes way too much work, but that's what it would look like. And now we get to the Ross Rex 5488. Out of 10 stars, 10 stars, that's weird. It's usually 5 stars, but okay, 10 stars. How would you rate each of the JP and JW movies? And man, you're trying to get me in trouble.
He says it's a bad idea.
What's a bad idea?
This could take an hour to do. So I'll try not to go into too much detail. I mean, the first Jurassic Park, total masterpiece, one of the best movies ever made. Definitely between 9.5 and a 10. Probably more of a 10. Really, objectively, not just from a dinosaur fan perspective, this is an amazing, amazing movie. Great characters, great story, does go on the themes, the special effects still hold up. Some shots look a little dated, but great, amazing for the time. And it's very intense, very slow-paced action that builds and intensifies, and I love that, and I just wish the series would get back to doing that. That Spielberg kind of thriller sensation. The Lost World, probably between an 8 and an 8.5 on a more generous day for me. A very good movie. Dr. Malcolm, I do enjoy him in this role. He's more serious, after the events of the first movie, and now all his loved ones are in danger. But he's still a little quirky, quippy, and then you like some of the other characters too. Even if they're all marching into their death. Like, I love Roland. He's a wonderful character, a great antagonist, but he's still a very human person. He's just an antagonist, not this pure evil mustache twirler. And still, the best special effects of any Jurassic movie comes from 1997. Like, the World movies rely way too much on CGI, and it just looks like a PS2 game a lot of the time. And then Dominion had more animatronics, but the animatronics didn't look good, so whatever. Then Jurassic Park 3. I recently rewatched Jurassic Park 3 like a week or two ago, and I actually didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it as much as I usually do, which is weird. I guess it's because I know all of the cringy parts and all the stuff that doesn't make sense, so I was able to look past it and have more fun with it. Some of the characters are annoying, the Kirbys are annoying, but I did like some of the moments with them. I do think they have good moments. I do like the relationship between Alan and Billy. I think that was well done, and then the conflict between the two as we get towards the end of the movie. The Spinosaurus, yeah, it's a little too bloodthirsty, and the Raptors are a little too much like xenomorphs. Like, they're too smart, too human, and too advanced. It's a little crazy. I know we're gonna say the books, but still, as a movie, but I enjoyed them. I liked them. They had great designs, great sound design, great action scenes. There's enjoyment to be had in 3. It's short, 90 minutes, just a popcorn, silly, goofy Jurassic movie. But oh my gosh, I'm taking forever on this. It asks so many questions. It raises so many questions for the audience, but then it doesn't bother to answer them, which annoys me. Like, if you raise these questions, then answer them, unless it's like meant to be some ambiguous thing, but it seems important. It's not like an ambiguous wants people to scratch their head at the end, like Inception, like, was it a dream, was it not? No, it's like asking these fundamental questions, like, how did the Spinosaurus, like Ceratosaurus, come to be? Who was here, like, making these dinosaurs? Or were these people making dinosaurs before a hurricane? Clarissa, whatever, or people coming back to someone and making new dinosaurs? They just don't answer these questions, and I wish they did. Sorry, Jurassic World. 4. No, 3. 3 or 4. Worse than Jurassic Park 3, honestly. I know it's gonna get a lot of pushback, a lot of people like this movie, but the characters are either annoying or they're serviceable and generic. I did like Maserati, kind of. He's probably like the saving grace of this movie. Chris Pratt gets like nothing to act with in this movie. He's just being like deadpan serious, and the comedic moments don't land for him. nothing like his Star-Lord performance. I think also why I dislike Jurassic World so much is that it's a very hypocritical movie. It pokes fun and comments on corporatism, capitalism, sequelitis, how we always need the new thing, we need the bigger thing, the better thing. When it comes to sequels, we need to be bigger, louder, more teeth. And it makes fun of that, it makes fun of product placement. Like, oh, Lowry's good, but Lowry making fun of like the Verizon Wireless line. And then Jurassic World comments on all this stuff, but then does all the things they're commenting on. And not just does it so that they can make fun of it, no, they actually just straight up just do the things that they're commenting on. Like, they make the action scenes just no intelligence, just throw loud noises at the screen, like with the pterosaurs and the mosasaurus. It's just throw stuff at the screen and let the audience consume it mindlessly, really. And then they have like the product placement with the Mercedes-Benz logo just in your face on the screen. Just like, come on. You're literally making fun of this stuff, and you're doing all the stuff that you're making fun of. Fallen Kingdom, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. Fallen Kingdom, I actually enjoyed the first half hour, but the moment that they land, the moment that they get to Nublar, the movie just tanks and just, ugh. And then when they go to Lockwood Manor, the mansion, it just gets even worse. I would say also like a 3-star movie. And Dominion, probably also 3 stars. I dislike them all about equally. Yeah. I don't think we need any more on Dominion. I actually made a video review on that. So that's where I'd end up on all of them. Sorry for that really long tangent. But it is a good question. Next one. Okay. So this one is a very interesting question. It's a question I've seen a few times. There were some others like it in the comments. I think it's a very important question, and it's a mature question. So the Savior of Souls 5-10 asks, first of all, what's it like being a religious dinosaur lover? I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I love God, I love Jesus, I enjoy dinosaurs, and I enjoy learning about his creation. So it's not like as big a deal as you might expect. Right? Okay. 2. Things like human evolution probably don't exactly align with your worldviews. Is it more of just a fun interest, or do you only believe certain parts? Oh, now that's an interesting part of it. I'm trying to answer this methodically and maturely. I'm not just gonna slide past it. So obviously, evolutionarily speaking, the world is over 13 billion years old. Humans evolved from their ape ancestors and would still be considered apes. And that takes millions and millions of years to do, which is different from, say, God saying create the world in 6 days in the book of Genesis. Different Christians take different viewpoints on this. I've heard some Christians say that Genesis is allegorical. It's an allegory for how the world is made. I've heard some say that the Big Bang is good for Christianity because it shows that the universe and the world is made at one single point, and from there everything was created. I've heard people saying that they take Genesis at its word and the Bible at its word, and no, it's not supposed to be allegorical, and it's supposed to be taken at face value. And I mostly agree with the third one, honestly. It does not seem like it's supposed to be an allegory for evolution or for anything else. Jesus quotes out of Genesis, and it wouldn't even make sense. Like, in the Bible, birds come first, and land animals, like you have dinosaurs, come afterwards. Birds were made on the 5th day, land animals were made on the 6th day. But evolution has it backwards, that dinosaurs evolved into birds. So I definitely don't think that we're supposed to be reading this as an allegory for evolution or millions and millions of years or anything like that. Now, here's my thing. Honestly, Christians aren't really judgmental on which one you believe. Anything is acceptable. I mean, no one's gonna really bother you if you say any of these things, or at least I haven't been bothered. But, really, I am a man of faith. I believe in God, I believe in Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior, that He is the truth, the life, and the way. No one gets to the Father but through Jesus, all that stuff. And I trust what God says, alright? God has gotten me this far in my life. He's gotten me through college, through school, through my work, through employment, has provided a wonderful wife and a home for me, all this stuff. So, I mean, it would be foolish of me to sit here and just deny God in my life and deny His truth and His faithfulness to me. I mean, I don't want to be like Peter, who, when they ask him about his relationship with Jesus, he denies Jesus 3 times. So, I believe God when He says that the mold was made in 6 days. But I also want to clarify that. I want to understand the science. I want to know more about dinosaurs and what the scientists say, and, other prehistoric creatures. I want to know the science, and I want to teach and explain the science. I'm not here to teach my Christian theology, Christian worldview. That's not really what this channel is about, but I still have to give God credit where credit is due. And yeah, there are Christians who try to argue kind of that the science proves God's existence and proves the book of Genesis, so I'm not really convinced by their arguments. But I say, you know what, if you don't believe in a God who does these miraculous things, then sure, this is a good explanation. This is the science. But yeah, that's where faith comes in. Faith that these things happen. It's not that it's scientifically proven, it's just that you have faith, you trust in God. So I don't really think it works that well to say, hey, look, the science says God exists. Look, nature is saying that God exists because, I mean, God is outside of physical and time constraints. He's God. That's the point of being God. But hopefully, when I die, I'll be endowed with all wisdom and understanding, and I'll learn about this. And I'll learn more about this. Was it really an allegory? Did it really take all these years? Was Genesis meant to be taken completely literally? I'll figure it out when I'm there. Hopefully that takes a while though. So, you may disagree with me. You may think that it's foolish to have faith in God and be Christian and be in paleontology or anything like that. But, you know, just giving an honest answer, being truthful about it, and hopefully no one goes crazy. Alright, 3. Were your parents bothered at all by you getting into things like dinosaurs / evolution? Again, Christians aren't really that concerned as to which one you choose, which of the options you pick. I mean, as long as you're still walking in the Lord, then it's not that big of a deal to them. My dad is a pastor. Well, he has the title of pastor, but he hasn't been pastoring a church for years now. My mom's a Bible teacher, so very Christian, very they take the Bible very seriously, but you know they've been nothing but supportive on this. Was honestly really curious about this ever since you mentioned you were religious. Feel free to pick just one if I ask too much, or none if you aren't comfortable with it. Loving the videos for a while now, keep it up. Thank you for that. I'm really glad that you enjoy the videos. No problem. I'm here to answer any questions, even the difficult questions. That's fine. It's a learning opportunity. And I like these tough questions. They really make you think. You have to come up with, you know, an actual answer to what you think and what you believe, rather than just going with the flow. You don't want to just go with the flow. Actually know what you think and why. And following that question, we have something even more theological, even more intense, from Telson 1583. Favorite cheese. Okay, favorite cheese. That would be sharp cheddar for me. I love sharp cheddar cheese. It's the only cheese maybe not the only one, but it's a cheese that I will just take it straight up. Do you ever just get the masculine urge to eat cheese in the middle of the night? Because that's me with sharp cheddar. Sharp cheddar cheese is amazing. Just buy a block of it and just cut it off as a snack and eat that sharp cheddar. Awesome. Next up, from Dino Roar 4735. What is your favorite paleontological discovery? I would have to say Deinonychus and Ostrom's work on Deinonychus. I've talked about this at length before, but this is when like minds are blown, eyes are open, like, hey, dinosaurs were more bird-like. They were very bird-like. Birds came from dinosaurs, and they weren't these cold-blooded, dumb swamp losers. They were a highly successful group that still persists to this day. They could have been intelligent. They were quick-moving. They held their tail off the ground. They were warm-blooded to an extent. So this just like blew open the doors of paleontology and really brought us to where we are today. Now, from Observer Bliad, not sure how you pronounce that, but he asked a couple questions, he or she. What's your favorite dinosaur? Ceratosaurus. What's your favorite pterosaur? Probably Hatzegopteryx. Favorite prehistoric marine reptile? I don't really have a favorite prehistoric marine reptile. Would Dinosuchus count? I mean, it's not really a fully aquatic marine animal, but it spends a lot of time in water, so I'm gonna cheat and say Dinosuchus. Favorite Cenozoic creature? Oof. I mean, puppies, obviously. Anything puppy or dog related, like, unless, if you're not counting domesticated animals, of which the dog, the puppy is obviously the best thing ever, then the wolf, the next best thing.
Who are you, who are so wise in the ways of science?
But aside from the cute puppy babies that we know and love, that's a good one. Maybe, I like Titanoboa, Smilodon, something like that. I don't know. Now from Parmentoons 4371, what are your thoughts about the Ice Age movies? The good ones, excluding Collision Course and Buck Wild. Here's the thing. I saw the Ice Age movies like once when I was like 10. I've tried rewatching the first one, but I never really got through it. I never rewatched it all the way. I'm just really indifferent to the Ice Age movies. I know there's a Baryonyx or Suchomimus, whatever, in one of them, and the dinosaur one. That's Rudy, I think. Rudy, but I really have no opinion on these movies. I'm highly indifferent to them. I think I saw the second or third one in theaters, though, when I was a really little kid, but it didn't really do much for me.
I didn't care.
So sorry about that. I'm sure some of you at home are fans of the Ice Age movies, or maybe just the first movie, or I don't know what the Ice Age fandom is like, or which ones are good, which ones are bad, which ones we don't talk about, but I'm just indifferent overall. B3N1623, what is your favorite animal that is still alive? The puppy or anything puppy related. Puppies are just like perfection. They are just like angels come down from heaven to come and cuddle with us and be loved by humans and love us in return, right? It's the greatest thing you'll ever learn is you'll learn from a puppy, how to love and be loved in return. I used to have a dog. His name was Snowball. He was like the greatest little guy the world has ever seen. The most loving, caring, and cute and cuddly thing ever. And I was the favorite. He would always follow me around. But he passed away about 3 years ago due to heart failure. He was 16, so he lived a long, loved life. And you know, it's just an unconditional love. You know, every time you come home, the dog is always super happy to see you, always running around, playing chase together. There's just nothing like it. I mean, there's a reason why they're man's best friend. There's just nothing like the love that a dog can show you. Next one comes from Ian Bick, 7851. Question. This lady at work claims the chicken is the closest relative to the T-Rex, and I keep saying it's not, and having a hard time explaining why. So, is the chicken a relative to the Tyrant King, or not? And who is the closest relative today? Alright, evolutionarily speaking, scientifically speaking, well, okay, you can argue that anything is a relative of anything else because they all would have evolved from the same place billions of years ago. But aside from that, this is a common misconception. They say the chicken's related to Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
No, not quite. All birds are equally related to other theropod dinosaurs, because all birds branched out from a single bird ancestor at the same time. So no bird is more or less related to a T-Rex than another bird. Yeah, I mean, some birds may be more derived than other birds, but I don't think that makes them less related to Tyrannosaurus. So, yes, it's related to T-Rex. Not only were they both theropod dinosaurs, they were both saurosaurs. So, like, kind of a more advanced type of theropod dinosaur with feathers, maybe higher intelligence, good eyesight, higher senses, stuff like that. Yeah, so yes and no. All birds are equally related to T-Rex and Velociraptor and Troodontids. Okay, so getting that out of the way. Next one, again, super important question that will change the course of our lives. From Iguanodon 5B7RS. Do you like FNAF? Yes. Yes, I do. I do like FNAF a lot.
So good.
If so, who is your favorite FNAF character? I've been a fan of the series since day one. Okay, maybe day two. Whenever Markiplier first released his first FNAF video, because I was an avid Markiplier watcher, especially back then. I still watch some of his stuff today. Great guy, awesome. So when I see, hey, this new horror game, this really big horror game that everyone's talking about, Five Nights at Freddy's, and Markiplier's playing it, I'm gonna watch the heck out of it. And I remember being there, watching it on the couch, and at the end of that video, he gets jump scared by Foxy. Foxy runs down the hallway and gets him. And I, like, chucked my phone across the room. That jump scare got me so hard.
No! Eels.
But yeah, since then I've been a fan of FNAF, and I'm excited to see the movie. I'm cautiously optimistic. So it looks pretty good. I can see this working. But I like old FNAF. I like 1 through 3 is like, okay, in my head canon, 1 through 3 is like, yes, this is the lore, this is what's canon, this is what happened. Then there started to be some changes, some shifts from 4 to 6. It became more of a sci-fi, just weird, just, I don't know. I don't like the direction the series went. 6 was a very good conclusion if they wanted to end it there, but then it became about like the souls or the essence. What did they call it? I'll remember what they call it soon when I'm editing this. Children and harvesting that. Oh, Remnant. Harvesting the Remnant with animatronics. Just, I don't know what. It just gets all over the place. And then there are multiple bites and animatronics made to trap children, and it just gets too convoluted. It comes off-brand, really, from those first 3 games. Although I do like 4 and 6. I don't like 5. Okay, next. Who is your favorite character? My favorite character is Springtrap, and FNAF 3 Springtrap, the original Springtrap, not the ugly weirdo Springtrap Scrap Trap from 6. Yeah, none of that. I like the original FNAF 3 Springtrap. It's the serial killer himself, the one who's been murdering children, who caused this whole thing, and now he's stuck inside an animatronic suit, he's rotting in there, and he's coming after you. And it's just such a great setup, and it's so like creepy and intense and so much fun. FNAF 3 is a little easier than the others, but still, it doesn't detract from it. I just love that idea. Like, it's you, one-on-one with the serial killer who started it all, and it's really creepy and intense, and I love his design. It's such a good design, maybe minus the ankle guts. And last question I'll address today. This comes from Annie Fentiani 9112. What's the first time you've ever heard about dinosaurs? And the honest answer to this is I have no idea, because if you've been with the channel long enough, you know that there was never a first time I watched Jurassic Park. I can't tell you the first time I ever saw that movie. It's just always been with me since I was in the crib, since probably before I was even born. We had that on VHS, so I was a Jurassic fan from the womb. Maybe I can ask my mom when she got the VHS tape and I first actually saw it, but I have no idea. And then I have no idea about Jurassic Park, but then I also had a lot of dinosaur books in the house at the same time. So if my mom was reading to me or we were reading together, I'd read a dinosaur book. And then there's also Land Before Time movies. We owned the first 8 of those, and then Tiny Sauruses. I never really watched it. I never watched Tiny Sauruses. I binged the other 8. So I don't know when that became a thing for me. Like, all of these things, they were just there for me forever, and I have no recollection of the first exposure I had to these things. And then Disney's Dinosaur came out in 2000, which I was a year old at that point, so I have no recollection of that. So maybe some of you at home would like to say, like, hey, I first learned about dinosaurs from this, or I first got interested in this at this age. But I have no idea. It was from birth, basically. Even my name, Tim, comes from Jurassic Park. My parents really couldn't decide on a name, and they gave the question to my older brother, what should we name this child? And Tim was one of the options that they were looking at, and then my brother told them to name me Tim because of Jurassic Park. So I'm literally named after a character in the Jurassic Park movies. So it's like I was destined for this. There's no such thing as destiny, but I like to play. Okay, those are all the questions. Well, not all of them, but it's been about 55 minutes of recording this, and I think I've gone on long enough. Thank you for everyone who posted a question. Even if I didn't get to yours, I still really appreciate it, and thank you for all the viewers who stick with me and watch my content. I just want to make something for you to enjoy and maybe do some education here and there. And I appreciate this opportunity of you guys getting to know me getting to hear your questions, what you'd like to know about the channel, about me, about dinosaurs. Awesome. I love hearing that. So, I won't keep you for that much longer. It's been about an hour, so remember, if you enjoyed this video, to please leave a like, subscribe, and to check out my social media. See you next time.